Uganda has an estimated 10,000 street children. In the streets of its capital, Kampala, many children from Karamoja in northeastern Uganda can be seen alone or in small groups trying to earn a living. I was taken away from home by one of my relatives to Jinja because of hunger in the region. In Jinja, I faced difficulties and I started working in a metal scrapyard. We would move out at night to look for scrap metal. Some children misbehaved, they were beaten, and some even died. Others were jailed. It wasn't easy. Street children have unique learning needs, and an alternative approach to educating street children is needed because the majority of these children have either never sat in a classroom or have dropped out of the formal education system. Even though primary and secondary education has been declared free by the Ugandan government, educational opportunities purposely tailored for street children are still not widely available here. Therefore, helping these children return to school and remain in it presents many challenges.
So you would find that we'll go on the streets and find children aged maybe 10 or 14 and they have never been in school at all. But in the interim school, we believe that every child needs a chance to go to school. So we don't make decisions for the child that because they are aged, they are up to a certain age, that therefore they do not qualify for formal primary education. We make that decision after the child has been given a chance to be placed into formal education. And once the child has gone into resettlement, each child is given an opportunity to be assessed and placed into the class as far high as they can go.
Today, Dwelling Places, a Christian non-governmental organization dedicated to removing children from the streets, is one of the rare facilities that offer shelter and education for street children. It currently houses 401 former street children.
An interim school is within the transitional rehabilitation home. We help the children to catch up with the education, preparing them to go for mainstream. In that case, we help them to learn good manners, how to relate with others, how to share, how to greet elders, how to basically how to be disciplined. We want these children to learn how to read and write because in mainstream everyone needs to learn how to read and how to write. In interim school, we don't have classes like P1. We don't have classes like P2. We call them standards. We tell them you're in standard 1, you're in standard 2, you're in standard 3, so that they are not demotivated. By the end of 6 months, this child is spending in the transitional rehabilitation home with the much attention you're giving the child, with much homework you're giving this child, with all the help of teachers. He or she will be able to have skipped that level of standard 1 to something like standard 2, 3 and above, so that they can also get their goals in future.
Every child gets quality education that is relevant to his or her individual personal development. Children who don't succeed in mainstream education by the age of 12 are started on Project 1 apprenticeship program. Here, they get basic education training in entrepreneurship and life skills.
For the children who are 12 years and above, we actually engage them into entrepreneurial skills, ranging from making t-shirts, printing on t-shirts, tailoring, catering, Also the computer, especially if you're at the age of 15, it's compulsory that every child would get an education in computer training. We are currently in the process of setting up our own place, but we have partnered with a school called Mother Care Preparatory School in Bunamwaya, and our youth commute to Bunamwaya, and that's where they study computer. Because we know nowadays without the computer, is anyone who doesn't have the skill of the computer, they can't use the phone, they can't use the ATM, they can't use different things. So we give them the proper full skill of using the computer, and hoping that even that computer, as they've attained that skill, they can use it to make money. For example, they can make business cards, they could make different things really. We look out for opportunities with apprentices, and we place the youth in apprenticeship training, even though they are still in mainstream education. So every school holiday, we place the children with apprentices for at least 3 weeks. That is our exit strategy. We hope that for every child then can be able to leave the dependency of dwelling places at the age of 18.
I trained in catering, and after my internship, I was formally employed. I'm now very knowledgeable. We even supplied food to dwelling places. I would make and sell half cakes to schools, among them agape, but of course as well as dwelling places. I also learned how to make sweaters. Together with my friend Prosi, we made and sold blankets to visiting foreigners. We also sold sweaters to Kenyan students from Kampala International University. The sales were very good.
In Uganda, children and youth are the majority of the population. The concept of developing independent living is one of the things that make dwelling places unique. All the children under dwelling places go through a 4-step holistic care program: rescue, rehabilitation, reconciliation, resettlement, where each child is given close and personal support, a stable and warm family-like home care for the children without overprotecting them, as they have to be prepared for independence later on.
The second form of rehabilitation is rehabilitation that takes place in a home environment. You might find a child that has been, that needs rehabilitation. Maybe they've been in the slums and they've been part-time on the streets, but you don't necessarily need to get them off the streets or out of their family to rehabilitate them. Now, that kind of group, if you take the child out of the slum, the environment that has been exposing them to danger or risks, and they need rehabilitation from, and put them in a community that is different, a community where there is normal life, there is disciplined children, and you work with both the child and the family. Even the child in the children's home will need a home setting eventually.
Once a child's family has been empowered to provide a safe, loving environment for them, dwelling places permanently resettles the child back into their family. In September 2012, John Paul Wanyang was among the second group of Karamojong children to be resettled back in Karamoja.
She's actually very happy for having brought him, and she has seen actually a child physically. She has been hearing that the child is in Kampala, and now she has believed that the child is alive. But before, she wouldn't believe that she is alive. That's 7 years, and he was taken when he was at this size.
This is just so amazing. I mean, I've been thinking about my son and how he's going back to school just now for boarding, and he's been crying. But imagine what a mother would be, 7 years when you haven't been around to see your child. It's a miracle that this is happening for this family. So we are glad that we are bringing in the child, and yet there's also a bit of food, really, and some things may not be too much, but I think the best thing that is happening right now is that the child is going to go to school. Because if this child goes to school, the whole village might change. You know, he could be the hope for the whole of this village. So we are glad and pleased actually for all our sponsors and the donors who are giving funding for these children to go to school. It is a wonderful miracle, and thank you for making us part of this.
After being reunited with his relatives, John Paul Wanyang is now returning to school. He says he is so happy and is looking forward to a brighter future in Karamoja. I am so grateful to Dwelling Places. They not only rescued me from the scrapyard, they taught me how to read and write. They have brought me back home, and I am now going to start school.
We believe every child has a right to education, has a right to proper upbringing, and more so the street children. They too are children. They have their rights like any other child. And so we believe that when they come into our hands, we have a duty to give them the right education so that they too are rehabilitated, they get the right knowledge, the right skills, so that they can grow up like any other child. And then grow up as responsible citizens.
Children are mainly ejected from their families in the first place. Thankfully, for example, in the region of Karamoja, you'll find that these mothers do not necessarily abandon their children. So we have tried our level best to make sure that as we work with the children, we also work with the families, with the heads of their families. We work in counseling with them. We, as a Christian organization, we basically engage the churches within the communities where these people hail, and we hope then that the people can be able to find sustainability within the church settings that are there by asking the churches to come and visit, you know, to do any kind of the Christian help with these families, engage them and get to know how they are, you know, the pastoral care that can be done within that community. So we try to engage the churches that are within the vicinity. But otherwise, we also have social workers who make sure that they go regularly to check on the parents. This time, we are in partnership with the heads of the families in making sure that these children do not return to the streets. And remember that most of the time, how we keep the interest of these families is that we engage in long-term support of education. We engage with the families in income-generating activities, and the heads of the families are given an income-generating activity that enables them to subsidize what Dwelling Places is doing, and maybe also reduce the dependency from Dwelling Places over time.
Children, you are all coming to the quarry tomorrow.
Over the years, our children who have artistic talents have had the opportunity to participate in recreation activities as well.
You are not going to school until further notice.
First, in Dwelling Places, I've been able to learn that I can act, I can dance, I can sing, and through Dwelling Places and acting, I've been able to act in a film. For example, in some films like All Our Children, where I acted as Derek, it was all about domestic violence. And then after, I got a chance to act in a bigger film, Stone Cold, as Marco. It was all about exploitation of children. I thought I'll never get a chance, and it has also improved my acting career.
Since 2002, Dwelling Places has rescued 2,000 children, resettled 229 children, and of these back to their families have been put in foster care and have been adopted. However, there is still more work to be done.
Aki jama bone polo, mere jiye, mere matome nito polo ete. Ngikabiko kipupete, ebele kizinga ya katameta, nyakoni nyakoni. Aki jama bone polo, aki jama bone polo, mere jiye, mere matome nito polo ete. Nkima kipupete, ebele kizinga ya katameta, nyakoni nyakoni.